Hi civil engineers, this is 12th and last video for the civil engineering quiz for COVID-19 sit at home season. This is the solution for quiz days 23rd, 24th and 25th day. So this is the 25th day was the last day. This is the last video I am uploading. So it is 3 days solutions. Before going to the actual 3 days solution to the quizzes, putting here with in front of you quiz statistics, and thank you so much fellow civil engineers for stopping by to view, to like, to answer, to ask questions and win my 25 days quiz series. I am extremely delighted with the overwhelming response. I enjoyed answering many queries and requests for solutions, references, and thus got inspired to do 12 solution videos for the days 1 to 25. So this is the quiz statistic. Day 1, it was on 22nd March. That quiz has almost 3614 views, 22 likes, 6 answers were given, and the winner was none. Day 2 on 23rd March, 625 views were there, 5 likes, 3 answers were given, and the winner was Engineer Sundarlingam B. Siva Subramanian. Third day, 420 views were there, and the winner was the same Engineer Sundarlingam B. Siva Subramanian. Fourth day, 341 views and none was a winner. Fifth day, 364 views were there, only 3 likes I got, and 19 answers were submitted by 19 different people, and the winners were many. 7 winners on that day: Engineer Kua Oluwase, Engineer Jay Zoshi, Engineer Abu Talha, Engineer Shriraj Belwalkar, Engineer Abhijit Odhalkar, Engineer Sabrinath G, and Engineer Vambu Chandige, and Engineer Sakruz Hose. So this was about the 5th day. Next, I am continuing with the quiz statistics. On the 6th day, that is 27th March, 517 views were there, 2 answers submitted, but nobody was the winner. 7th day, 948 views, 8 answers, 8 people submitted the answer, and 3 winners. 3 got the correct answers: Engineer Sundarlingam B. Siva Subramanian, Engineer Abhijit Ondhalkar, and Engineer Radhakrishna Chari. On 8th day, Engineer Kalpesh Barshi was the winner. 9th day, Engineer Sundarlingam B. Siva Subramanian, he was the winner. Then on days 10th to 18, many views were there, more than 300, 400 views were there each day. Many likes were there, and then so many answers were submitted, but from day 10 to 18, nobody got the correct answer. Next, continuing with the quiz statistic, date 19, 538 views were there, 4 answers submitted, and Engineer Radhakrishna Chari and Engineer Glenn M, they were the winners. They got correct answer. Again, 10th and 11th April, nobody was the winner. 22nd day of a lockdown period, on 12th April, 491 views were there, 22 likes were given, and 9 answers were submitted, and Engineer Kalpesh Barshi, only his answer was correct. On 23rd day, 8 answers were submitted and 3 have correct answers: Engineer Radhakrishna Chari, Engineer Mrudu Bard, and Engineer Jonah Vasu. 24th day of a quiz, 14th April, 588 views, 6 answers submitted, but nobody was a winner, no answer was correct. And 15th, the last quiz day, 25th day, 182 views were there for the question, and 4 answers were submitted and none is the winner. I have not yet disclosed the answers, so by this video only I am disclosing the answer. Nobody was a winner. Then from day 1 to 25, YouTube solution videos were submitted, uploaded. Okay, 155 views I got for the 12 videos and 18 likes. 4 people had commented, they had some suggestion or comments, they asked for some more topics, etc. And 64 channel subscribers were there. So this is the quiz statistics. Next, quiz statistics, I am still continuing. Quiz was viewed by engineers working in the following organizations and many more. Like these are the various organizations, almost 50-70 of them, which is known to me, and unknowingly if the quiz was forwarded to many places, I really don't know who all saw it. So these were all the companies from where the viewers were there. Next, continuing the quiz statistics, the people who viewed the quiz, they were engineers, civil engineers, founders, HR specialists, students, recruiters, process specialists, technology manager, university professors were there, research fellows, construction engineers, corporate trainers, project managers. So all these senior consultants, designers, technology managers, executive directors, so many people, so many designations, they viewed the quiz. Next, the viewers were from following places: from India, Delhi, Gurgaon, Indore, Amravati, Bengaluru, Vadodara, Mumbai, Kalyan, Kolkata, Madurai, Karwar, Ahmedabad, Teni, Bhopal, Parbhani, Surat, Bhimavaram, Pune, Hyderabad, Chandigarh, Cochin. So many places the viewers were there. From Pakistan also, NWFP, Peshawar, few engineers were continuously following me and they were contacting me, they were asking me queries also, and they requested for few code numbers. While discussing with them, I get to know about the codes, country codes used in Pakistan. So good knowledge sharing. Then from Mexico City also there were viewers. New Zealand, from Waikato and Auckland, both the cities. From South Africa, Johannesburg. USA, Lafayette, Indiana, Greater Los Angeles, Greater Boston, Greater New York, Orange County, California area. All these area the viewers or the query solvers were there. From Canada, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver and Toronto. 4 cities people contacted me, and I also, many of them were there in my original distribution list. In Australia, Melbourne and Western Australia, people were there in my contact list and they were sending answers. In UK, only 3 cities: Guildford, Reading and London. So these were the places from where there were the query viewers or quiz solvers. So after this quiz statistics, I'm not disclosing the winners. Winners will be disclosed in the end. So now I'm giving solutions today, 23rd, 24th and 25th, the last day. So day 23rd, Monday, 13th April 2020, question 1. For the machines pumping explosive gases, what is the minimum reinforcement in the concrete block foundation? And 4 alternatives were given, and the correct answer is C, 40 kg per meter cube. And explanation for that, I have given reference of IS 2974 part 1 1982 cover page I have attached, and clause 5.4.5 I have attached. So this IS 2974, this is that IS 2974 part 1 1982. It is a code of practice for design and construction of machine foundations. So this IS stands for Indian standard. This is the Indian code, and clause 5.4.5 says minimum reinforcement in block foundation, concrete block, shall not be less than 25 kg per meter cube. This is for normal rotary machines or normal pump block foundations. But For machine requiring special design considerations of foundations like machines pumping explosive gases, the reinforcement shall not be less than 40 kg per meter cube. So this is the reference, and so C is the correct choice for that. Next, I am going to day 23, question 2. The net safe bearing capacity of soil is equal to gross safe bearing capacity of soil plus gamma into df, where df is the foundation depth below ground level and gamma is the soil density. True or false? Obviously false. Many could answer this. It was very straightforward, very simple question from soil mechanics. I have not for a change given a reference of any code. Refer to any soil mechanics textbooks. This is a formula, you will find it. Net SBC of soil is equal to gross SBC minus gamma df. It is not plus gamma df but minus gamma df. This is the answer. So going next to day 23, question 3. What is the maximum height a steel ladder can generally have without a safety cage? And 4 alternatives were given, and D 3.0 meter is my chosen correct alternative. Now there can be dispute or discussions on this. So explanation I have given. PIP standard STF 05501 for fixed ladders and cages, and project standard drawings. Then American National Standard Institute ANSI A14.3, which is American National Standard for ladders, fixed safety requirements. So first on this page I have shown the cover pages of 2 American standards. This is PIP standard, process industry practices. I have told you about this PIP standards. They are worldwide used for process industry. And ladders, PIP standard for fixed ladders and cages is this one. This is American National Standard for ladders, fixed safety requirement. It is ANSI A14.3 2008. Now these 2 standards say that safety cage can be provided after 20 feet, that is 2 stories. Generally 10 feet is a single story, so 20 feet is 2 story, that is almost 6 meters, and this is as per American standard. So basically civil engineers will have to keep it in mind. If you are working in American standards in the American locations, then cages can be put in the ladders at 6 meter above the grade level or above the starting point, but that is not the case with Indian standards. So next page, same question answer and references I am continuing. Refer IS 3694 P2 1991. It is a IS code for ladders, and NBC 2005, that is National Building Code. And also I have attached a part page of a construction standard drawing. So first look at this IS code. Look at this corner, IS 3696 Part 2 1991 and reaffirmed in 2002. This is IS code for scaffolds and ladders, code for safety. So part 2 is for ladders. Okay. Now there is one more code, NBC, National Building Code. Now few students ask me, few people, engineers also, they ask me like, you are giving references of so many codes which are there for designing and detailing of structure, that is structural codes. What about architectural features? So in India, for architectural features you have to follow NBC 2005, National Building Code, and I have attached a part cover page of NBC 2005 that also talks about ladders and safety cages. And then many Indian oil and gas companies or process industry companies, they have their own standard. I have attached one of the standards, and they say that they show in the standard that this is a ladder side view, and at certain height this cage is started and then there is a landing, and that height is 2.7 meters. and they say that cage should have clear headroom. In India, the cage starts very much early, around 2.7 or 3 meter. That is why I have chosen 3 meter as an answer. In fact, some companies, some refineries, they suggest putting cages at 2.5 meters also. So just above the headroom, as someone enters over here, his head should not strike with this cage member. But in USA, they allow 6 meters without cages. So somehow you have to see where your project is and accordingly choose. Next, I am going to day 24, Tuesday, 14th April 2020, question 1. Refer below to the pipe rack typical bent. So bent in USA, it's a USA word, is grade, what we call it in India. So refer below to the pipe rack typical bent and the wind parameters from ASCE 7. Find the wind load per unit length at first year only due to piping if center to center of bends is 240 inches. So this is the data given and this was the sketch given. So this is a typical pipe rack. Now in earlier quiz questions I had told you about pipe rack. In process industry, lot of process is happening and lot of fluids are going from one facility to another facility. The fluids go in the pipes and these are the offsite structures which are called pipe racks, and they carry those pipes of different diameter. They will have different fluids, they will have different diameter, different temperature, different pressure, different velocity fluids. Generally topmost rack is for cable, electrical and instrumentation cable trays. So these are the trays in which cables are running. In USA, the cable trays, electrical instrumentation cable facilities or cable trays are mentioned as raceways. You should know these words. So this bent is grids, raceways is instrumentation electrical cable trays. Now find the force at first year due to wind, and force is not a full force, not a concentrated point load, but it is wind load per unit length. Okay, so where F is equal to QZ G CF into AE. This is also a data. In data the formula is given. Design wind pressure for 30 feet elevation is 26.59 PSF. Now in US codes, they use, most prominently they use foot pound system. So PSF is pound per square feet. Gust effect factor for the wind is 0.85. Force coefficient for pipes is 0.7 and raceways is 2.0. Raceway is cable trays. Projected area per foot of pipe rack is equal to the largest pipe or raceway height plus 10% of the pipe rack width. So in the sketch, pipe rack width of 25 feet is shown over here. So what is the wind load per unit feet at first year? And the answer is wind load per unit length at first year only due to piping is 63.28 pounds per feet. And then many had answered this question, especially those who are working in the process industry, detail engineering. They sent answers and in a hurry they didn't read the question properly. The load was asked wind load per unit length, so it would be pounds per feet, and they gave the total concentrated load. The unit was only pounds. The answer, they knew the method, they knew how to find the answer, but just because they didn't read the question properly, nobody was the winner for this day 24 quiz. So substituting in that formula, at pipe level of 20 feet, this is the 20 feet, that is first year, maximum pipe OD is 18 inches. So you have to look at the pipes. All these are small pipes. This is the biggest pipe. Its OD, outer diameter, is 18 inches. Always remember, you have to take OD 18 inches outer diameter. Inner diameter doesn't stop the wind. What faces the wind is the outer diameter. It can be outer diameter of the pipe plus insulation thickness also. So always take the OD. OD is 18 inches, G is 0.85, CF is 0.7. So effective area is 1.5, that is largest pipe OD. 1.5 is foot. Okay, 18 inches is 1.5 foot plus 10% of the width, that is 25. So 1.5 plus 2.5, 4 feet square per unit length is the effective area. Substituting, you get force per unit length is PZ or QZ into G into CF into area per feet, and multiplying you get the answer 63.28 pounds per feet. Not very difficult. If you want to learn more about how to find loads on the pipe rack, how to design a pipe rack, do contact me. This is my website, MHG Engineering, www.mhgengineering.com, and mhgeng@gmail.com is the email ID. You can contact me. If you have any suggestions also, you can contact me. Next, day 24, question 2. When moment resisting frame design is not used in the longitudinal direction, vertical bracing should be used to transmit the longitudinal forces from the beam struts to the foundation. True or false? And the answer is true. Very obvious this. I have shown, you can show any structure. I have shown a longitudinal view of a pipe rack. This is the longitudinal frame, and these are the beam struts. The beams, longitudinal beams, are pinned with respect to the columns, and they have provided, or we have provided, or we require to provide vertical bracings to transfer the beam strut load and longitudinal load to the foundation. So in typical portal frame, transfer beams are designed and detailed as fixed with respect to columns, and longitudinal beams as pin connection with respect to the columns. Now the columns and the longitudinal beams do not have capacity to transfer any moment. In such scenario, the vertical bracings, see these are A type, they can be X type also, or cross bracings also, or if there is fouling, there is some fouling with pipes are entering or taking exit from this bay, then you can have K type bracing also. Okay, so in such scenario, the vertical bracings may be used to transmit the longitudinal forces, see longitudinal, along the length of a pipe rack or along the length of a building, to transmit the longitudinal forces on the column transmitted as axial loads through the beam struts to the base plate and further to the foundation. The diagonal bracing, that is X bracing or A bracing or K type bracing, is usually used for this purpose, which imparts longitudinal stability of the system. So because of this horizontal force, the whole frame can sway in longitudinal direction, which is stopped with the help of these vertical bracings. For beam struts, simple beam connections at ends and pin connections for bracings are generally provided. Also, strut connection should be designed to carry axial loads to allow for movements in the longitudinal direction due to thermal expansion. A break in continuity or discontinuity should be provided, preferably midway between the brace bays. So this is the explanation. Answer is true. Many got it correct. Next, day 24, last question, question 3. What is the ideal thickness of the masonry partition wall between the two adjacent oily transformers outside the electric substation facility? And answer is through 345 mm. And the explanation, oily transformers, so I have shown attached a photograph instead of sketch, actual photograph, and these are the oily transformers outside a substation, big ones. They are separated by the walls, and these are the fire walls or 345 thick walls. There is a channel over here to support this gate. They have gate, many times they have a roof also, shade also. So This is oily transformer, this is a partition wall which is 345 thick. Now why? As the name suggests, this is a oily transformers, and in substation facility they can catch fire and explode due to presence of oil in it. Hence, they are located outside but just adjacent to substation building. They are never inside the building. Okay. Now, depending on the electrical substation equipment layout, a series of oily transformers are kept adjacent to each other. Just see in the photograph. Okay, and separated by a firewall. Thus, even if one oily transformer catches fire, the fire is not transmitted to the adjacent ones. The fire or fireproof walls are either 200 thick RCC or 345 thick masonry wall. 345 is 1.5 brick thick, and hence the answer is 345. Hope you have understood the explanation and understood the photograph also. If you want to learn more about substation detailing, peculiar substation buildings, how the cellars are there, how the panels are there, etc., do contact me. Now going to the last question, the last quiz, day 25th, Wednesday 15th April 2020. Question 1. The American Welding Society throughout April celebrates National Welding Month to bring awareness to welding industry. So on the occasion, somehow our quiz was running in the month of April, and American Welding Society celebrates Welding Month, National Welding Month. So I thought of dedicating this question to welding. Of course, nobody is in the celebration mood, but just dedicating this question to the topic welding. Name the latest US standard for welding and match the pairs. Send correct answers in format A1, B2, C3 or D4, something like that. So I had given 4 sketches to the left, 4 types of weld, and on the right side 1, 2, 3, 4 I had given description of it. So do go through the quiz. It is published everywhere on all my social medias. You can have a look at it. Okay, so this is a square type of butt weld. You see this. Next, B is, you see double V, so it is double V groove butt weld. Okay, this is butt weld. The two members are in front of each other and then they are butt welded. If they are overlapping, then generally it is a fillet weld. Remember? Okay, now next, C. It is a single bevel groove weld, and this is a fillet weld T joint, and this is a single bevel groove weld V. You see this V shape. Okay, so the answer is the American Welding Society latest code is AWS D11 2015, the structural welding code of USA, and I have attached a cover page. Okay, so you will come to know about it. AWS, American Welding Society, and this is the code number. 2015 is the latest version. ANSI is American National Standards Institute. Okay, so just like our BSI for British Standard Institute, or ISI, Indian Standard Institute, or Bureau of Indian Standard, BIS, this is ANSI, and the correct answer is A2, match the pairs. A2, B3, C4 and D1. Many could answer this correctly. It was very simple question. Next, going to day 25, question 2. Which of the following raw materials has the least percentage in the composition of ordinary Portland cement, OPC? 4 alternatives were given. Silica, we know that A is silica. We know silica very high percentage is required. CaO also, calcium oxide, very high percentage required. So same is with aluminum oxide. So MgO, magnesium oxide, is the ingredient or raw material having least percentage in the composition of OPC. And explanation for that, I have attached SP23. Now this composition of cement, you will find it in n number of books, any textbooks on concrete technology or cement. You will find these proportions. You will find that MGO is the list, but I have preferred, as I have said earlier, I prefer to give references of codes and latest codes also. So SP23 1982 and IS 8112 2013 is there for 43 grade OPC cement. So I have attached a part cover page of SP23, special publication of IS codes, handbook on concrete mixes based in Indian standards. So SP23 and even IS 8112, this is a code for 43 grade OPC cement. Both have the mention of the composition of a cement. So depending upon the wide variety of raw materials used in the manufacture of cements, the typical ranges of the elements in ordinary Portland cement may be expressed as follows, and the least is MGO, and that is our answer. Okay, next, go to day 25, last question and last question of our 25-day long quiz series. Question 3. Design only minimum total weld length required between secondary beam web and end plate using 6 mm thick fillet weld by Euro code. Now again one more question in the welding week, but it is in the Euro code. Actually, if you want to be a global engineer, then you should be able to work in all the codes. Although in India all the institutes they teach only IS code, but when you are working on the international projects, you require to use different country codes. So Euro code is used in so many countries in Europe. So design a weld length. So, and the data further said it's a primary beam 533 by 210 by 101 UB section. Now in India we use ISMB. In Eurocode they call it UB section, and secondary beam is 406 by 140 by 46 UB section. Now in this 406 is the total depth of a beam, 140 is the flange width, and 46 is not the thickness but it is weight. Okay, the shear connection using end plate as seen in the sketch below. So this is a main beam, and from both the sides this 406 deep secondary beams are coming. For each secondary beam there is a end plate and they are welded. So the side view of this connection, this is a web of a main beam shown as a cut portion. Okay, to that this secondary beam is coming and getting connected. The secondary beam has a end plate welded to it, to its web, and the end plate is side bolted to the main beam. Okay, so we have to find now this weld length. Now the design ultimate reaction from secondary beam to primary beam is 117 kilonewton. So weld is designed, should be designed for some force. So 117 kilonewton is a force that weld length should be able to take. The end plate is 200 by 250 mm deep and 25 mm thick. Why it is given? That means more than 250 long weld you cannot provide. Take F430 as grade of steel. Correlation factor for Fe430 is 0.85. Partial safety factor for weld material is 1.35 in Euro code. Now which is the Euro code for welded connections? So Euro code 3 EC is Euro code 3, or it is also called as EN 1993.1.8 2005. Now EN stands for Euro norme means standards, norms. 1993 is Euro code 3. In that part 1 is about structural steel, and in that section 8 is about connections, both welded and bolted connections. So in section 8, first 3 chapters are for bolted connections, and 4th chapter onwards are for welded connection. So in that, fillet weld strength formula is given FVWD, that is V stands for always shear, W weld, D design. So strength in shear in design strength in shear in weld is equal to Fu upon beta W gamma MW root 3, where Fu is the ultimate stress in steel. So 430 grade steel will have 430 Newton per millimeter square. Beta W is the correlation factor, partial safety factor for welding material. Gamma MW, M stands for material, W stands for weld. So gamma W, MW and root 3. Okay, so next page, I am substituting the values. Before that, I am telling you the answer. Answer is minimum total weld length required is 130 mm. And how I found out? Explanation, refer Eurocode 3 EN 1993 1.8 2005 clause 4.5.3.3. So as I said, chapter 4 onwards is for welding. So this is the clause. In this clause, the same formula is given. You have to just substitute. So Fu is 430 divided by 0.85 is BW. Partial safety factor for weld material is 1.35 and square root of 3. So substituting the values, fillet weld shear strength is 216 Newton per millimeter square. Now we have the force. Area required for fillet weld is AW, area weld, is equal to support reaction divided by this shear strength of weld. So support reaction was 117 kilonewton. So 117 into 10 raised to 3 divided by this 216 Newton per millimeter square, we get the answer 541.6 millimeter square. So 541.67 millimeter square is the area of the weld required. Now they have given in data that it is a size of weld is 6 mm. So throat thickness is 0.7 s, so 4.2 mm, and length is equal to area required divided by throat thickness. So 41.67 divided by 4.2. So 128.9 mm weld length is required, which I am rounding off to 130 mm, and that is the answer. Now I have reattached on this page also the sketch. Now for this secondary beam, which is short length 406, this is a main beam and end plate is welded to secondary beam. The weld length is on either side of the web. Even right side of the web is welded to the end plate, left is also welded to end plate. So each side will be, length will be half of 130. So that is why I have shown in red 65 mm. So 65 mm weld on this side, 65 mm weld on this side, and total weld length 130 mm. Now I know people are very busy, people are working from home. So in a hurry, many people have sent answer as 65 mm. That is only one side weld length. No, I had not asked that. I had asked minimum total weld length. So answer should be 130 mm. So no winners for day 25 quiz also. 130 mm divided by 2 is 65 mm weld length will be on either side of secondary beam web with respect to end plate. But the answer is 130. So here we end the solutions for all 25 days. This was day 25 question 3. Next I have to now declare the winners. But before that, quiz days 1 to 25 daily 3 questions were asked. So total 75 questions on any topic of civil engineering in any country code were asked. Total 12 solution videos were made for this 25-day quiz series as follows. So these are the 12 videos. The 12th video I have not written the link. Why? Because I am still filming it. This is the 12th video I am talking to you. Now I started the civil engineering quiz series for COVID-19 lockdown. So the winners will get some prize, but for all other participants, the viewers, those who liked my videos and liked my quiz, those who saw my quiz could not solve it for due to time constraint, for them I am giving this gift. Find below a useful link for WHO's, that is World Health Organization's, guidelines for hand hygiene. So this is the link. Okay, and that is, so you can have a look at it, so you will know how to be safe. And this link talks about www.ncbi, this is NCBI, National Center for Biotechnology Information, and NIH is National Institute for Health in USA. So both these are institutes in USA. In that there is a bookshelf, and in that this World Health Organization's guidelines for hands hygiene. We have been told continuously by all the politicians and by media that we have to wash our hands so many times by this, that, by soap or by hand sanitizer. So all these instructions, so give to you. Stay safe. You can go through this link and information about hand hygiene. Next, before declaring the winners, I am ending this quiz series over here, but coming soon, I will not stop over here. Coming soon on my YouTube channel, I am uploading slowly one by one RCC and steel design lectures in international codes in English and as well as in Marathi language, that is my mother tongue also. I have seen that many good civil engineering students in the interior Maharashtra, they have a language problem. They are mentor deprived. They do not have access to international codes. They don't know where to get it, how to get it, what to do about it. So this a special series. Nobody in YouTube till now have uploaded international code design in Marathi language. So I am the first one. I will be doing that slowly one by one. So it is for mentor deprived students in interior Maharashtra. So please spread the word. You may be knowing all these codes or you may be knowing the method, but let the mentor deprived students in interior Maharashtra from vernacular medium, let them know about it, so they'll take help of it. Next, announcing the 25 days quiz series winners. So rank 1 is engineer Sundarlingam B. Siva Subramanian. Out of 25 days, he gave correct answers on 4 days. Second rank is engineer Radhakrishnachari. He gave correct answers on 3 days. And third ranks, 2 people have got, 2 engineers have got it. It is engineer Abhijit Ondhakar and engineer Kalpesh Barshi. They gave correct answers for 2 days quiz. So hearty congratulations to all the winners, and thanks a lot to all for finding time from your busy schedule to view, to respond, to participate and to win the quiz series. I am sending e-prizes to the winners very soon. So goodbye and stay safe.